and welcome to a new month. Welcome to the month of September. So, I want to talk about mindset and attitudes to have, especially when you're in a new start, like when you're sort of like changing the direction of your life or in sort of like a transition period in your life. And I would say that I am going through that stage. So that's why I want to just talk about some things that I'm learning as far as when it comes to mindset shifts and attitudes to have whenever you're going through a new stage or a new start in your life. And I feel like each and every person at some point in their life, right, we are sort of like starting and doing things differently, right? So what sort of mindset or attitude should you have in the process? So I'm just going to be giving you a few tips on that based on what I'm learning and what I'm also continuing to work on in myself. Number one, I feel like the very first thing you should have when it comes to mindset shifts and attitudes when you're going through a new start is to have an open mind. Yes, if you're going through a change or redirection in your life, you have to have an open mind, because if your mind is closed off to the way God can perform and God can function in your life, then you won't really allow yourself to just witness something new and witness something different and allow God to do things differently in your life, right? So I feel like the very first thing you need to do if you're having a new start, if you're trying to change direction of your life, is be open. Be open to change. Be open to a new environment. Be open to learning something new. Be open to discovering something different about yourself and others. And just be open to God changing your story in whatever way He chooses to, right? So when you want to have a new start, when you want to change direction, or when you just want to sort of like, when you sort of want to just like try to like have a different mindset, right? The number one thing that you need to learn to do in life is to have an open mind. Number two, I think that it's really necessary when you're sort of like going through a change or a transition in your life to always sort of like stay close to God, right? We don't ever stop praying at any stage in our life, right? I feel like it's always important for us to seek God's guidance and God's direction in everything we do. Even if we feel as though we are at our destination, you should still seek God's praise, right? You should still seek God's guidance. You should still continue to speak to God, communicate with God, and glorify God, right? So I think it's really important that we seek God's guidance in each and everything we do, and we always pray to Him for His protection, and we always pray to Him to give us just the wisdom to make the right decisions in our life. And now, number three, another thing that I think is really important when it comes to like mindset shifts, like when you have a new start, right, is to be willing to make difficult decisions. Like, you have to be willing to make difficult decisions in life, because life is not perfect. And the truth is that if you make a difficult decision, it means that you are going to have to sacrifice something, right? It means that you are choosing to go through this path, and when you make a difficult decision, there's something that you're sort of like losing in the process. And that's just part of life, right? So even in me deciding to come back to school, even in me deciding to leave Nigeria, it's a sacrifice, right? Because there are certain things that I'm sort of leaving behind. So I feel like in life, you have to make difficult decisions, and it's all based on the direction of change that you want to see your life going in, right? So some of the mindset shifts that you have to make when it comes to like having a new start is that you have to be willing to make a difficult decision. What are you willing to sacrifice, and why are you willing to make that sacrifice? What is your end goal? What do you hope to achieve? What do you hope to obtain, right? So I think one of the things that we have to do when we want to, have a new start, have a fresh start, is make a difficult decision. Because when you make a difficult decision, you are choosing something over another, and you're praying to God knowing that, okay, even if you are sacrificing something, at the end of the day, it is God's will and God's plan that is going to be best, right? So making a difficult decision is part of a fresh start. And now, number four, when it comes to mindset shifts for making a new start, I think that it is being patient. Yes, this is something that I'm definitely learning in my life, because I'm always somebody who's like, oh, okay, I want this right now. And then I get angry at God. It's because it's like, God, really? Why? But the truth is that we just have to be patient in life, right? So I feel like when you're having a new fresh start, be patient with yourself, be patient with your journey, and know that your path is unique to your own. Don't compare your life to anybody else, but just be patient with the process. And I think that it can be difficult in this world, right? And especially with social media, we compare our lives to other people, and then we think we are supposed to have this or have that, this and that. So sometimes it's difficult to be patient with the process of your life because you keep thinking that, oh, this is what you're supposed to do by this age, oh, this is what you're supposed to have by this and that. And sometimes you allow the pressure and voices of other people to affect your life. But what I think is really important is that you have to focus on you, you have to focus on yourself, God, and you have to focus on your growth and journey in life, right? So be patient with yourself, be patient with your process, and be patient with the way God is developing and changing your story, especially when you want to have a fresh start. Don't have the mindset where it feels like, oh, you need to have this immediately, or you feel like, oh, you're not where you want to be. Just be patient with yourself and always recognize the growth in your journey, no matter how little, no matter how small. Always recognize and celebrate little growth in your journey, in your process, in your step, because I believe that each and every person has their own story. Each and every person has their own path and journey, and your story is not the same as anybody else's, and that is okay. So be patient with yourself in your journey, and especially with God, because God always knows what He's doing. Next, another thing that I think is really important when you're trying to have like a new start and sort of like just have a fresh start, what sort of mindset you should have is that you should be willing to just embrace mistakes, embrace imperfections, embrace getting lost. In my newsletter, I talked about like, starting over, feeling like you're lost, making mistakes, and that's okay, right? Because that is a part of life. And that's normal, right? So I think that we all need to sort of like give ourselves grace in this life. Give yourself grace if you've fallen down. No matter how many times you've fallen down and failed so many times, give yourself grace, right? To know that it is okay, that you are an imperfect human being, to know that you will make mistakes, to know that you will fail. And even if you do fail, to just know that this is part of life. And as long as you still have the grace to get up, to wake up, and to continue on the process of walking through your journey, then it will be okay. So I think that it's really important, especially when you're having a fresh new start, that you should just really give yourself the grace to be imperfect and make mistakes, because that is life and that is part of the learning process and journey. And we are all imperfect people and we will all fail and fall down, and know that that is all right. So those are just my few tips on what I believe is best when it comes to the sort of like mindset or attitude you should have when you are on the verge of, or when you are trying to have a fresh new start in your life. Number one is just to have an open mind and just embrace a new path, embrace a new journey, right? Have an open mind. Number two is that you have to keep close communication with God always. Continue to pray to Him, continue to ask for His guidance, protection, continue to pray that God will give you the wisdom to make the right decisions. Number three, be willing to make a difficult decision, because in this life, if you are making one decision, you are sacrificing something over the other. But as long as you know what your goals are, as long as you know what you want to accomplish, then you have to be willing to make a difficult decision. Number four is that just accept that you have to be patient with God. Be patient with the process of your life. Let God change your story the way He wants to change it. And do not compare your journey to anybody else's, but focus on your own growth and your own progress. Then, of course, know that we all make mistakes, because that is life. We are human, we are imperfect beings. As long as we just keep having that mindset where we want to learn and grow, it's okay if we make mistakes, it's okay if we fall, because we are imperfect human beings. So those are just my very few tips on what I think is really necessary when it comes to mindset shifts, right? When you want to have a fresh new start. So I'm interested, what do you sort of think is needed when you need to change your mindset, when you need to change your attitude in order to have a fresh new start, or maybe you are on the verge of a transition in your life? What are the things that you think are necessary? Definitely let me know your thoughts in the comment section. If you haven't yet, definitely do subscribe to my channel, and also follow me on other platforms, right? Because I like to write on Medium and Substack. So if you aren't there yet, do follow me on all those other platforms. Thanks again for watching this video, and I will see you on my next video. Bye.